Well, hello everybody. My name is Sylvain Rochon. I am the Paradise Engineer. Thank you for joining me for another episode. Here's another opinion article, just brand new article I just wrote. It's yet published at the time of this recording. It's not published just yet, but it will be in the next couple of days. But you won't be able to tell the difference because you're watching the video when I publish the video, and it'll already be published. This is something that's been close to my heart, and I've been writing a lot about this offline because I've written a second book. I'd say maybe a third of the book is about the new economy. Because unavoidably, the current employment-based economy will fail reasonably soon. We don't know exactly when because there's a lot of uncertainty in the timeline itself, but there's two things that we are absolutely sure will occur. Number one, artificial intelligence will soon surpass our ability, the human ability to complete complex tasks, and any task, like including new jobs that may emerge because of technological displacement, right? Because AI is becoming that sophisticated. Right now, the Kinsey Global Institute says that 50% of all paid tasks can be done better with AI with currently available technologies. Right now, this is 2017, actually. No, that was 2019 data. So this is pretty surprising. The reason why you're not feeling it more at work is because it takes time for companies to actually implement and leverages new technologies and put them into place so that's available. Most technologies you're not even aware of that could actually alleviate a lot of your more repetitive tasks in particular. But that's 50% of paid tasks could be done by AI right now. The second reality is in approximately 20 to 30 years, like the timeline, we don't know exactly when, but within the next generation and a half, artificial intelligence will be able to tackle even brand new jobs, like I mentioned, with the same level of intelligence as a human. That's what we call the emergence of human-level machine intelligence, or another word like the emergence of AGI, artificial general intelligence, is predicted to emerge by then, within the next 30 years or so, more likely 2040, and so on. And that's very important because if this AI with robotics and so on are more productive or more capable as we are at doing tasks and any work, including the emergent jobs, then that's what most companies and everybody will want them to do, because we want our world to run better. We have limited resources. We want things to happen faster, better, cheaper, using less energy, less resources. And if AI combined with robotics and automated systems can do it better than humans could, which arguably not only because of their intelligence, but just because of the fact that robots can't sleep, they don't need to be reprogrammed, they don't have emotions, they they can run 24/7 without stopping. They can self-repair at a certain point, like we have robots repairmen, not right? Or at least we can have them fairly soon. Now, for all these reasons, they'll be way more efficient than us at doing anything, including the problem-solving, creative aspects of who we are that we tend to think will never be replaced by AI. Well, that's completely false. Creativity, it's not something that is irreplaceable and impossible to duplicate. Robots can actually be creative in their own way, and they can be excellent, better than us already this year. In some cases, we've tested AI that's able to be designers, analysts, and take decisions instead of us better than we could, with higher rates of success. That's efficiency and productivity. So these are two truths, and we know the timeline is reasonably short, within a generation and a half, that this will happen. And we know already that 50% of paid jobs today can be done better by AI of today, 2019. So if that's the truth, like what about, like we have to rethink the future of work, because the whole economy is based on people working and paying taxes, and then that is pays for all sorts of services that we use for that we need, right? Social services like healthcare and education and just the streets and the lights and all this stuff that we have all around us built and paid for by our taxes because we are working, because we are the center. The employee is at the center of their current economy. But so we have to think about something different. How can we work within an economy where we are not at the center of it, that are making the money flow? Well, remember, the economy is not about money. It's not about us working. The economy, essentially, by definition, is how we produce, manage, and consume available resources. It's a resource management system. It's not about work itself. It's about how do we produce. Now, human beings we've been at the center of production, management, and consumption of these resources. We enjoy mostly the consumption part, but because we had nothing else, we had to be the one that would produce and manage the resources as well, which is jobs. And additionally, it gave us a purpose, which is kind of important for humans. We want to be part of society. So this job that we spent most of our lives doing became our social part, the way we gave to society. We contributed to the productivity or the management of these consumables that we ultimately consumed and other people consume. And then we created money to facilitate trade of these resources and how to distribute the resources fairly. The people that would produce and manage better or with more responsibility would get more money, and therefore would be allowed a bigger share of the consumption part of the productivity. This is how it was kind of quasi-fairly distributed a long time ago, and we've been playing with that for a long time, adapting it and kind of tweaking it, and now it's kind of like with the wage gap and how the wealth is distributed mostly to like super wealthy people. It's becoming kind of unpleasant and unfair, but that's the system. That's how the system works. It's how to distribute these funds, and cash is a means to kind of know what value and precisely to trade from one person to another. Now, we can entirely make supply chains that are entirely automated now. I mean, if you just look at farming, you can find, and the article in the down below I describe, and I put extra links out to some companies and whatnot, but we can completely automate a supply chain for food, which is the major supply chain everybody eats, right? 100% automated farms already exist. 100% automated transportation of bulk materials from place to place, like from farm to a grocery store, for example, can be fully automated. Tesla and a bunch of companies, we're going to see cars that are fully automated starting next year already. It's already available. Companies are already ready to roll that out for consumption. We also have 100% automated grocery store. They've been testing with Amazon Go and other Kroger. Kroger is associated with damn, I forget. Anyway, they're planning to roll out stores that don't have staff or very minimal staff, just to say hi, to have like people there. But grocery stores can be completely automated, and there are some companies that plan to do that. And also 100% drone or home delivery of products from the grocery store directly from your home. There are companies that are specialized in that, including Amazon. For years, they've been working on that. And Ford even, and a bunch of companies that are prototyping and have products ready to roll out already. So this is a whole supply chain. They're just disconnected right now, but different companies are trying to tackle different aspects of it, but they'll quickly connect to each other because they want to be more efficient, to reduce costs, which they can transfer to us in a competitive market. Well, it's just going to happen naturally. Partnerships and associations will occur, and the consumer will have cheap food that will ultimately be produced in a farm that is 100% without any staff at all. And along the line, the food has been manipulated by no one with greasy hands. No problem. This is with the technology that we already have now, and companies that already have this ready for consumption or deployment and commercialization. Now, what will supply chains look like in 10, 20, 30 years when the human level intelligence will emerge? Well, it's going to be way more sophisticated, and most supply chains will be unavoidably automated as well, because that's just, the companies want things to be more efficient, more productive. AI and robotics is the way to be more productive. Human beings are in the way of productivity nowadays. And yeah, hence the problem. Because if you got too much of that, not enough people can actually work in contribution to the productivity or management of the economy, and they end up only consuming. If not enough people are working, there's not enough taxes, it breaks down. It just breaks down. Can't survive. And we're not talking about breaking down completely, like rapidly in 30 years from now. There's going to be a gradual erosion of all this stuff, of the current economy and how it's structured and how we make our livelihood and how we survive within a much shorter amount of time, because you're going to start feeling it way before it's 100% fully automated. This is a gradual deployment. It's going to hurt, and it's just like the toad in the boiling water or in the hot water, and then you start cranking up the heat, stays there until it eventually dies. Well, that's a little bit, it's going to be our case. We're going to see automation, we're going to complain, it's going to be more and more, and then eventually we're going to say, well, things are not completely broken down, and we can't function, we can't eat. Too many people are suffering from famine, homelessness. There's already a problem now, and it's increasing. Let's avoid waiting until we're boiling. We know this is going to happen. We know, 100% certainty. Let's do something about it now so that we don't suffer as a society or as individuals. Now, you're going to tell me that, and I did write about this in another article that I mentioned in the current article that is down below. Some people will want to have services to consume things that involve a human being being present, offering a supply to the demand. Yes, in the services, entertainment, some of them will remain simply because we want a human being to be present to certain things we consume, like perhaps some types of art. Going to a fancy restaurant, we want to have a human waiter there because that's a social experiment, social experience. And we don't want to have a robot there. If you want a robot, you go to McDonald's, because we don't care if a person is behind that counter. We just want to have the hamburger, right? So that's an example. There will be a small amount of jobs, let's say, or tasks that will have sufficient demand to have individuals providing an offer. But if you have, say, 10% of the population that is actually working these jobs, it's not enough to uphold an economy anyway. So we're still stuck with that, okay? We still have to create a brand new economy. And a brand new economy, because we get to design it, like we're going to break the current one. Might as well do it properly. And again, I'm circling back to the reason of an economy in the first place. Productivity, to produce, manage, and then consume. We want to consume. That's definitely what we want to do. We were not built to be employees. We never were. We did it because we had to produce and manage the natural resources so that we could consume what we wanted ultimately. We're no longer needed or wanted in the production and management. We want to get out of that. We want to get out of the rat race. Because what we really need, what biology is built for, is to feel. That's it. That's what drives our every action, is to feel. We chase joy and try to avoid negative emotions. That's it. That's the reason why we do anything at all. Okay? We go to work even though we don't like it, out of fear of not being able to eat or having shelter, having some basic stuff. And that's why we don't like them. Like 70%, 80% of the population, according to surveys, don't like their job. It's because they have to do it. Even though they like parts of it, when you have to do it a certain amount of time all the time, it's not fun. But there's the fear of famine. And that's a stronger motivation. And so you go to work anyway, and you do what you need to do, and you remain a cog in the machine of productivity or management. But if we can engage governing systems as a population to create fully automated supply chains in collaboration with the private sector that is holding the technology mostly, we can fully automate most of the supply chains in a very short amount of time. And we can make sure in this transition that everybody gets what they need, their basic needs are met. In the transition from an employment-based economy to a human-based economy, where the purpose is to let humans being human, which means to feel. Let the humans do whatever they want to do, what drives their emotion. Yes, human beings are also driven to be part of society, to be members of society, but that doesn't mean a job. It means volunteering. It means giving to others. It means gardening. It means being art, performing, doing different things that we enjoy doing, either as a spectator or as a performer or as an actor in whatever task you want to do. And we can be human with each other and feel with each other, while all these automated systems take care of the grunt work. And they can be fed, like energy-wise, they can be fed by the sun. You can have machines that are repairing the other machines. You can have machines and AI that are engineers, inventors, to upgrade these systems, make them more efficient, calculate how much food needs to be produced to provide for the consumption, which is us, right, every year. And we can feed into that system, and the system, the intelligent automated systems can intuit a lot of it through data, through all the sensors. We can build this kind of infrastructure fairly quickly that allows us to be who we are. Because that's biologically, that's how we are. We want to be free and do whatever the heck we want to do to feel the joy and to avoid the negative emotions. And that may involve, founding a family, doing all these things. Everybody's different, but that's what we want to do. So, how long are we going to wait before this, kind of tumultuous period of transition that could be extremely hurtful to a lot of people, where everything, the economy kind of breaks down and people, don't have enough to eat. They can't work enough. They can't be productive on their own enough to get crumbs from the system and from the supermarket. We don't want to wait too long until it gets bad. We'd rather, it would be much more intelligent to prepare and to act right now as policymakers, as professionals, and as a general population, to engage our governments and our policymakers to make this happen. Let's make this transition. It's scary politically, excuse me, because it's never been done before. But we know for sure that productivity will be entirely more efficient with completely artificial systems in play within a fairly short amount of time. It's already doable now. So sooner the better. And that's my message for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, well, thumbs up, like it, and please share and talk about this. I also put a link down below in the article about my book, because in the first book I wrote in 2018, I do talk a lot about this, but my forthcoming book, by the end of this year-ish, I talk a lot more about how this can function in a very real way, like in a very tangible way, and can work really well. So letting you go, enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope I didn't scare you, but more importantly, I hope I put a little bit of fire in your belly to take action and to talk about this possibility of engineering a paradise. Ciao, ciao.